that the young talent needs is they need a veteran guy who's a hard worker, who's going to be a guy in the locker room who can show the guys, lead by example of how you can become a successful player in NBA. I think that's the only reason for that move.
So the thing I think with that is, okay, so right now you had an opportunity to maybe go after a Aaron Gordon, go after a Julius Randle, who, granted, they have a couple power forwards, but Dragan Bender and Marquise Chris are not working out for them. I think they should be used as trade chips. You know, you're not going to get back. I mean, Aaron Gordon now re-signed, so we know that. But that happened later on in the day. Julius Randle, especially now, the Lakers will pay him what he wants. I don't think the Lakers will be too worried. If he wants $18 million, they'll probably pay him $18 million. I don't think it'll be that high. But you could go after a Jabari Parker. You could sign a younger player and then bring in a couple veterans either on minimum deals. You still have the room exception. You have Chandler there. You have Tyson Chandler, Brandon Knight. You have some veterans. Not PJ Tucker, but they have another veteran there. I forgot his name, but $15 million for a player like Trevor Ariza. I mean, granted, it's a 1-year deal, so with his contract ending next year, Chandler's contract ending next year, you're going to have some room next year, even though you will have to re-sign Booker. Yes, they will have some cap room next year, but I really feel that they could have used that money in another way.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think it's more getting a veteran. I think he can, do wonders for Josh Jackson and help Josh Jackson with his development. I think that's the only reason you make that deal. I don't see any other reason. Lastly, let's talk about Paul George. Kind of shocking because I was sure he was going to LA, and I know most media was pretty adamant about him doing this, at least at the beginning of this season. But it really does seem like him and Russell Westbrook develop a friendship, and they're going to continue playing together.
Yeah, I'm extremely surprised by that move. I shouldn't say extremely, but especially with LeBron James. I mean, and granted, Paul George made his decision before midnight last night, on Saturday night, really. So it's really strange. But especially with LeBron James going to the Lakers, I don't understand why Paul George would be a much better fit now with the Lakers, especially if Kawhi's over there. He's a great third option. He'd be an amazing third option, and really for any team. I don't think he's a solid second. I mean, he is a solid second option, but I think he does much better as a third option on a team. And the Thunder are going to be a good team, but I do not see anything more than maybe a 4th seed for them in the future, maybe even a 3rd seed after a couple years. But the Warriors they're not going to catch the Warriors and the Rockets. Their luxury tax bill is going to be extremely high, which for the Thunder makes sense. I mean, bring back Paul George at any cost. They even re-signed Jerry and Grant for about $9 million a year, and that's going to cost them a lot in luxury taxes. But really, I don't understand. Besides his friendship with Russell Westbrook, I don't understand what Paul George was thinking. I mean, they have a good team, but with the Lakers, him and James, and then most likely either Kawhi Leonard or another player via trade, I think that would have been the best option for Paul George to make.
I guess friendship is important. I guess he really likes playing there, and I think he feels like the fit is good, so he's going to stay there. I mean, I think it's crazy. I wouldn't want to play with Russell Westbrook even if I'm a second option, I don't want to play with Russell Westbrook. Russell seems like a great guy. He's just not a great passer, and he likes to really take over games. But Paul George wants to do it. I mean, the fit in LA would have been great, especially of him being a LA guy. So, I guess it's just about friendship, and I guess he's doing what he thinks is right. So good for him. I'm with you that I don't think this makes the Thunder a great team. I think they're a good team. I think they're one of the best teams in the West, but I don't think they're one of the 2 best teams. Or if Kawhi goes to the Lakers, I don't think they're going to be one of the 3 best teams. So, unfortunately, I guess as someone who doesn't like the Lakers, I am happy that this happened. but I don't know why Paul George did this. Which might lead us to talk about Kawhi Leonard. Just give us like a few updates on this. What is the Kawhi Leonard situation now? It seems like the Lakers might have a little bit more leverage. What do you think?
I don't think they have more leverage. I think they probably have the same amount of leverage as they had before. I think at this point it's a 3-team race for Kawhi and really more of a 2-team race. I don't think Boston is too interested in acquiring Kawhi, especially because of the fact that they'll have to give up Jaylen Brown. But I will keep them in the mix because it's still definitely an option, especially because, I mean, really, the best package in terms of Boston, and I shouldn't say the best package, but the most ideal package Boston would give up would be Jaylen Brown, Marcus Morris, Terry Rozier, Gershon Yabusele, and perhaps a pick, either the Memphis pick, the Sacramento pick, which I think the Sacramento pick, in my opinion, would be a little bit too much to give up, especially because you are including Rozier and Brown. So maybe the Memphis pick. I think that trade would be perfect for Boston. I don't see Kyrie Irving or Kawhi Leonard leaving with that type of team around them in free agency next year. Boston would be knee-deep in luxury tax bills because of that. They'd have to resign both players on max contracts. But I think there's no reason why they shouldn't do that. I think that'd be the ideal trade for them, and I think that'd be a great trade for the Spurs, and I might even argue that might be the best trade package for the Spurs. Philly, reports came out yesterday that the Spurs are asking Philly for 3 first-rounders and 2 players. The 2 players are undisclosed right now. I would assume it's one of Markelle Fultz, Covington, and Saric. Now, the Sixers were pretty adamant about not including Markelle Fultz. So let me ask you this. If it's Saric, Covington, the Miami unprotected 2021 pick, and 2 of Philly's 2019 and 2021 pick, do you do it if you're the San Antonio Spurs, and do you do it if you're the 76ers?
Well, if I'm the Spurs, I have to weigh other options. If that's the only offer on the table, I'm doing it because you're getting Saric back, who's still young, who's got a little bit of potential. We know whoever Covington is. I don't think he's got any more potential, but he's a good player. He made the first NBA defensive team this year.
I believe so. Yes.
So you pair him with DeJounte Murray, and that's 2 All-NBA defenders. So I think that's not bad. So I like that. I like the picks. I don't think the Sixers picks are going to be great because I think this team's going to be really good. But I do think that Miami 2021 pick can be a very good pick. So if that's the only offer on the table, I'm taking it if I'm the Spurs. The one thing I'm also doing there is I'm not sending Kawhi to the Lakers. So I'm not building another super team in the West. And Kawhi Leonard, I think if he goes to the Sixers, and I think it's a great fit for the Sixers. I think Ben Simmons being the point guard and be the big guy, and then Kawhi being the perimeter scorer. I think that's awesome for Kawhi. I think that'd be a very good defensive team as well. So I think, and Kawhi has a relationship with Brett Brown. I do think that would be a very good pairing. So I think he probably stay. If I'm Boston, one of my things about Boston is if I'm Boston, I might want to take the risk on Kawhi just so the other teams don't get him. And I know you disagree with me here, but I'm also with you. If you give up Jaylen Brown, and let's just say that we talk about that Memphis pick. If I'm the Spurs, I take that again because I really like Jaylen Brown. But if I'm Boston and I have Kyrie, Hayward, Kawhi, Tatum, Horford in my starting lineup and a bench of Larkin, Smart, some veteran.
Yeah, they did resign Aaron Baines. Yeah.
Semi Ojeleye. You got this Williams kid now.
They liked Daniel Theus last year.
And you still have that Kings pick. That is an amazing team. Like, that team, I believe, may be the super of all super teams, especially in 2 or 3 years. So, yes, you are going to pay a lot in luxury tax. But most of the guys are young. Al Horford's the only older guy on the team. And his game's going to translate well when he's in his mid-30s, right? Because his game doesn't need a lot of athleticism and stuff. So I think you put that team together and you just go out there and you own the next 10 years, right? Maybe not next year. Maybe Golden State is still better than you, but you just own it. And if I'm Kawhi, that's a hard team to leave, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think it makes perfect sense for the Celtics to do it, and I think it makes perfect sense for the Spurs to do it. I think the Celtics would be a little apprehensive because of Leonard's injury and because of the fact that Leonard and Irving could leave. It's a hard question to ask. Like, do you take that chance having 2 All-Star free agents next year on your team? And that's probably what scares the Celtics because of the fact that they already have 1 All-Star that might leave. And having 2 would really put them on edge all year. I mean, I don't think the tax bill doesn't scare them, as we've seen. I mean, middling playoff teams like the Nuggets, the Thunder, I mean, they're playoff teams, but they're 3, 4, 5 seeds in the Western Conference are willing to spend. I mean, those 2 teams are going to have some high bills, and they're not the only ones. I mean, the Rockets are most likely going to re-sign Clint Capella. Obviously, the Warriors bill is going to be huge. So teams are not afraid of that luxury tax bill, probably as much as the league thought they would be. So really, I don't think that would scare him off. I think it'd be mainly the injury history, especially having, again, Kyrie and Kawhi Leonard not only as free agents next year, but both with injury histories.
And Gordon Hayward's coming off an injury, right?
And not to mention, and Gordon Hayward's coming off an injury.
There's a little bit of risk there. I do think that the Kawhi injury is a little bit overblown. I think there was a lot of... I think on one of the podcasts, I think it was on the Bill Simmons podcast, that there's some rumors going around that Kawhi went to 7 doctors before he found the one who said, oh yeah, you should probably sit this one out. So it seems like that was more of a Kawhi just acting, kind of worrying about his own interests and wanting pretty much not to play this year. So I do think he's actually ready to go, and he'll be fine. I think Kyrie will be fine. I mean, Hayward was like a freak injury, right? It wasn't something that was normal for him. It just, Kyrie threw an oop and Hayward forgot who he was. So let's talk about it from the Lakers' perspective a little bit. Do you think the Lakers should go all in? I mean, should they offer Ingram and Kuzma and then whatever else? I mean, obviously not Lonzo Ball. I think Lonzo's there to stay. Yeah,
the Lakers should go all in right now. Essentially, what you're getting there, you're giving up Kuzma, you're giving up Ingram. No doubt that you should go well, and obviously Dank's contract will have to be included, which is a positive for the Lakers. So really the way I'll look at it right now is with that trade, you still do get to keep Julius Randle. So basically, instead of getting Paul George, you're keeping KCP and you're keeping Julius Randle. Obviously, Paul George is the better player, but having 2 younger players in Paul George's spot is a nice move. I really do like Julius Randle's game. I know you probably disagree, but I've been a big fan of Julius Randle. I don't think he's going to be an all-star, but I think he's going to be a real good player.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I think defensively he needs to improve, but I think one of the things that would be good is that it would be a very good, especially KCP is a good defensive player, so is Lonzo. So having 3 real good defensive players and one that can be really good when he wants to would kind of hide Randall's defensive efficiency. From what I've seen, inefficiency, I'm sorry. But I've seen he's also he's a pretty good rebounder, right?
He's a good rebounder,
so
yes.
I think on the offensive glass, that would be like, he can kind of be like the Tristan Thompson of that. So, I mean, I think the fit is good. I think that's a good starting lineup with those 5 guys and the great JaVale McGee coming off the bench.
And Lance Stevenson.
And Josh Hart. And, of course, your new rookie who's probably going to win, Moritz Wagner.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, he's a good fit for the Lakers, actually, Moritz Wagner. But, yeah.
He probably won't get much playing time now with JaVale McGee.
Well, the thing...
He's probably JaVale McGee's gonna get more playing time. I'm being actually serious.
I don't think so. I think JaVale McGee's. I mean, his role with the Warriors has always been limited for the fact that he's such a clown. I mean, he gives them some solid minutes, but I think being out there for extended periods of time. I think the fact that Moritz Wagner could shoot is gonna give him give him his time. Sure. Because of the fact that LeBron James could dish, Lonzo Ball could dish out to him. They need shooters. Lonzo Ball can't shoot.
I was just reading that the Lakers are trying to get somebody else too. Well, we'll get back to that because I forget who it was, but they were looking at another player